Well, I have 3 dogs, 2 German Shepherds and a Shih Tzu. The 2 little ones, I call them little, the little Shepherd and the little Shih Tzu did dog agility for a while, among other things. They did tracking and some other fun stuff. About 4 years old, the little Shepherd started having trouble, found out she had a bad hip. So I started letting her just do fun things like the runs that have just tunnels and a maze of tunnels and touch and go, just things that didn't have jumping in it and things that didn't have weaves in it. And I took her to an acupuncturist, and it didn't seem to help much, and the office was not very flexible on their hours, and it was difficult to do. So just put her on Rimadyl, and I have a doggy chiropractor that comes once a month and adjusts them all. And she's maintained pretty well. Then she started having some trouble earlier this year. She was like not wanting to jump into the car. Used to, she could just jump straight up into the car. And took her to a little agility trial, and she couldn't run through the tunnels. And I said, you know, she's almost 8, but she's still young enough. She's got a lot of years ahead of her. I was telling somebody at one of my agility schools about, you know, she was starting to have more trouble than the Rimadyl was taking care of. And she mentioned that she was bringing her dog over here for some problems like that. And I said, oh, who's the vet over there? And she said, Dr. Stramel. And I said, you know what? I said, I went to Dr. Stramel 7 or 8 years ago. I had another big German Shepherd, and he had problems, and we did a stem cell replacement therapy with him. And I said, I called once to see if he was still over there, and he wasn't, and I didn't know where he was. I said, you know, I'd do that with Kina. You know, I'd take her over there. So I brought her over here to see Dr. Stramel, and originally was going to talk to him about doing a stem cell replacement therapy. And the more he talked to me about her and we evaluated her, he said, well, I don't think you need to go that route yet. He had some other treatments and therapies that he was going to offer. And the more he talked, the more I thought, you know, this is something Rocco, the big old guy that we had, could benefit from. I hadn't considered stem cell for him because of his age, but so when I had scheduled Kina to come over for her first treatment, she got the shock wave, she got dry needling because she had some knots built up under her arms from compensating for her hip in her front end. And Rocco had some too. So I brought Rocco over for an evaluation the day I brought Kina over for her first set of treatments. And Dr. Stramel did a full body x-rays all over him and found out it wasn't his hips that was bad. We've had him 3 years. He was a rescue when we got him. And Rocco's head was kind of fixed like this. He couldn't hold his head up. He couldn't raise it above shoulder level. He was like, he reminded me of a machine on Star Wars, one of those shows where the big old machines are moving like this, and he's stiff, and he just had an awkward gait to him. Well, it turns out he had spondylosis. It's where some of his vertebrae had fused, and he had bad arthritis in his back, both shoulders, and one elbow. His hips were perfect, but we talked about him, and we said, you know, I think he can benefit from this too, even at his age. So he did 2 shockwave therapy treatments. Kina did 1. He did dry needling on both of them. He did acupuncture, and he does the cold laser therapy and the underwater treadmill, although he said sometimes he uses the regular treadmill for Kina. They've been coming for about 6 months now, 6 or 7 months now, and they're down to once a month now. They're on maintenance. Rocco has, well, first of all, Kina went and did a little agility trial last month, and she aced it all the things that she did. She's happy again. She's running. She can jump back in the car. She's not having that slowdown that she had, so I know it's really helped her. But Rocco, it just brings tears to my eyes because whereas before, you know, he couldn't lift his head above this, he can put his head up like this now, and he can catch treats. I took him and did classes with him on some things like nose work and whatnot. When he'd be in his crate and I'd have to get him out of his crate for his turn, he was like, oh man, do I have to get up again? You know, it was just uncomfortable for him to get up and get down. Normally I could just put him in it down on the floor, and he was parked there until we made him get up again. Well, recently, when I'm doing the nose work with the dogs and I make them all sit and wait their turn, he has started getting up on his own and pushing through. He wants to do it now. You know, you don't have to say, Rocco, come on, you want to go have your turn? No, he's like first one there. You know, it doesn't bother him to get up and down as much as it used to, and it's definitely worth what he's doing to have fun, to make the effort to get up. So, and he has, we have a step system that we have for him to get into the back of the car. There for a while, he was starting to get to the point where I was having to heave his butt up. Now, he's a 120-pound dog, and he's not fat, he's just big. He was butt up onto each step section to get him in the car. Now he gets up on the first 2 steps, and he gets his front up on the back and in the back of the car, and then I give him a little boost. But he does most of that on his own now. So it's really made a difference in the quality of his life, and it just makes me want to cry to think that at his age, he still has a lot of quality left. You know, and can do things that he never did before when we had him. I get all choked up because he's such a sweet boy. He's just, but to know that he's enjoying life again means everything to me. They're all sweet, you know. I just love all my dogs, and anything that I can do to them to help them have the quality of life that they need to see them through, they get it. And I'll say Dr. Stramel and Ron, they work really hard with me on making the schedules and the appointments that I need to get them in here. They come in earlier than their normal hours so I can drop them off and come back and get them later. I've taken my little dog in here and started bringing him up once a month to swim in the swimming pool. He's still doing agility, and it helps him. We walk every day. I walk my dogs every day, but it helps him get in there. And he's 8 years old now. So, you know, he's been doing agility for 6 years. So I think that the swimming in the swimming pool really is going to help him keep his mobility and drive going, you know, as he gets older. But I'm so glad that that lady told me Dr. Stramel was here, because I tried to find him once when Keena first started having trouble with her hip. And I thought, you know, I could go over there and get him to do that treatment on Keena. She's still young enough, you know, she needs some help now. So anyway, it's just wonderful.